Hello, good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian. And you are joining us here today at our beginner bodyweight and kettlebell practice. Behind me, we have that kettlebell. But first, let's address the body at the head, neck, the breath, the ribs, and all of those things that'll trickle down to the toes where Lauren will take over. So let's start at the head, neck. I'll adjust my stance towards like a squatting stance here. And with my chin tucked in, I'll add a rotation looking towards Lauren or over my right shoulder. Then I'll tuck my chin towards the center clavicle and then extend to center. Keep the chin tucked in, add the rotation looking towards the left. Then tuck a chin, sniff the armpit if you dare, then chin to sternum, reset looking center. Next, we'll add the rotation to the original side. In that case, that was my rotation to the right. This time, however, let's look up towards the ceiling, and when your head, chin align in center, pull back down to level. Then repeat the other direction in a rotation towards my left. I'll look up the wall, towards the ceiling, and then pull my crown high, resetting on the horizon. Let's challenge those same shapes in through the rib cage. Squeeze your buttocks, hands where you wish, maybe center or at the hips is fine. And keeping your hips forward, could you add a light rotation to the side? Then do a little back bend. Then pull back to center tall. And then on the opposite corner, do a little front bend. Pull back to tall, reset to center, and rotate the other way. The hips stay forward, the head stays forward, the shoulders might turn. Do a little side bend towards the back, a little side bend to the front, get tall, and then return to center. Adding that together, let's add that same little rotation as we did with the head. So first, we'll add our rotation. Then we'll do a side bend, and now I'll carve out these circular-like spaces to the front and assemble back tall. Same idea here, we'll add our rotation, side bend, and then carve out that front quadrant of the circle, and then to tall. For the last one, we'll do our rotation again, head forward, then side bend, move the rib cage around the back, and then pull on center and strong. And the last time, add our rotation, dip to that back corner, a little bit of an up and over action, and then reset ribs to hips. From here, let's pull ourselves into a little bit of a squat. It doesn't have to be too deep. And what we'll talk about in our lunges going forward are hip hikes. So it could be hip hike one, and then hip hike the other. Again, as we're doing this for a couple more repetitions, we have shoulders that are staying square, and the action is happening in the hips. Extend to tall. There's that up and down direction this way, and then there's the scoop and the tip to the back. Let's repeat, pulling ourselves down in a squat, and scoop the hips under, and then tip your tailbone back. Same effort here, a little bit of a scoop, pull the femur heads into hips to tip those hips back. Repeat one more of the scoop, the tip, find center strong, and push to tall. Now, let's get our feet in a narrow position, and Lauren will kind of take over this foot warm-up as we transition towards the floor.
From those feet underneath us, or that parallel position, we'll gently peel that heel off the floor. As you peel the heel, try to think about the heel connecting to the butt because you've shortened your hamstring. Now let's push that heel down and extend the hip forward. Same thing other side. Peel the heel off the floor, try to feel that hamstring all the way up into the glute. And then drive that heel down, extending the knee. From there, again, we'll peel the foot up off the floor. We'll get to our toe point. We'll allow the toes to roll over. From here, let's let the foot wing out a little bit. Pull it back to center. Wing in a little bit. Back to center. Toe point. Ball of foot connects. Heel down, hip extend, other side. Peel the foot up off the floor. Get to that toe point. Allow the foot to roll over. And once there, little wing out to the side, back through center, little wing into center, and then from center, point the toes, down through the demi point, Heel pushes down, hip extends. Let's pull on that floor. Again, bringing our heels towards our glutes, but staying stacked over top of our shoulders. And then press into the floor, extending your hips through. Repeat again, pulling yourself low. This time, let's take our heels off the floor, finding a light toe balance. Hold for a couple seconds, place the heels back down, and press through to tall. We'll do one more, adding a little balance. Knees towards over toes, heels stay heavy. Then the heels will peel up. From there, we'll press growing tall, and we'll slowly descend, heels coming down. Nice, shake that out. Then, from here, turn out slightly to that V position in your feet. Let's transfer weight onto a single leg and point the other leg not too far away, but so you can have the ball of the foot down and the toes down, your inseams forward. Now for about 5 here, let's point our toes and then put the ball of the foot back down. Point our toes, ball of foot down. For 3 more, try to keep that knee nice and straight and the hip level. This is all coming through the arch and the toes. From there, you'll put the ball of the foot down and the heel, and you'll press, transitioning to the other side. Again, heels up, inseams forward, point the toes, ball of foot down. Point and down. For 3 more here, feel that arch working, keep the knees straight, the hips level, and last 1. We'll place that foot down, and for 2 again, we'll pull the floor together, pressing the knees towards over the toes, and then press to tall. Again, pull. Feel those adductors as you pull yourself down. Then try to press the heels away from the floor and hold. Find the heels down, connect and extend. And last one, we pull ourselves down. We roll up to the balls of the feet. We press in the floor to grow, and then slowly descend, heels connect. Shaking that out. Nice.
To the floor. Let's use those same mechanics as Lauren had in that sissy squat progression here of placing those knees towards over toes. Then the heels could lift, assisting you getting towards your safe low. And then with fingertips as help, place the knees to the floor, extend the hips, shake out. Let's go to the hands first, followed by a lunge with Lauren. Fingertips down first, callus lines, and then full hands. For today, let's take one hand at a time and turn your palm up. Here I choose to roll over my pinky finger, turning my right hand up. Then I'll roll across the back of the hand, set the thumb side or approximately connects to the ground, and then push through the thumb. The hand will face more likely sideways. Now roll over the thumb so that the palm turns up, spin the fingers towards the midline, and then articulate pinky, ring, middle, index, thumb. I think I got that order right, Lauren.
That was pretty good.
Same thing on the other side. Turn over that hand, pinky side first, palm up. Then spin on the back of the hand. Your elbow might have to bend. Be creative and be attentive to what's going on. And then push through the thumb, fingertips face lateral. Next, roll over that thumb side, palm faces up. This is a counterclockwise spin for me, and then I find my pinky and press down. From here, push the floor away, shake out those hands, manipulate those wrists in those nice gentle circles, and then let's build some strength with our first knuckle push-up. So same position with the fingertips facing forward, callus line, then full hand. Our first knuckle push-up is to press that callus line or the knuckles into the ground with the palm leaving the floor. And then, like Lauren's slow descents on the heel raises, slow and control, screw back and connecting to the ground. Same effort, press to the first knuckles and spread energy all the way across the fingertips and then down. My thumbs leave, check in how you feel, nice and control always, pull down, and there are ways to make this harder, including your modified planks position or ultimately the full plank.
And make sure you keep your elbows straight.
Yes, but we'll save those other progressions for later. So here, let's just press the floor away and then let Lauren take us into those lovely hips.
From here, let's bring one foot up in front into our kneeling lunge position. Let's revisit those hip hikes that we did earlier by hiking one hip up and then gently pulling it down to level. We'll tilt the tail to the wall behind us and then tuck the tailbone underneath, squeezing that butt cheek. With those level hips and tail tucked tailbone tucked underneath. Push down with that front foot and gently start pulling it towards you. As you start pulling, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips and no arching in that low back, but maybe drifting the knee towards over the toe. Once you get to a safe place, relax but stay. Then re-squeeze that back butt cheek, push down and pull a little bit more to try to drift a little bit further forward. And now we're going to keep extending that back hip, but we're going to push forward to go back all the way to tall. Keep squeezing that back cheek, hold it, extending that back hip, and then gently relax. We'll take that heel toe and we'll toe it out, heel it out, toe it out to the side into that lateral lunge position. With that leg at the side again, one more time, a hip hike and level. Tailbone tilts to the ceiling or that anterior tip, and then tuck the tailbone under. With that back cheek squeezed in our level hips, we're pushing down and pulling on that floor. Again, drifting that knee towards over the toe. Relax out there, stay for a second, and then re-squeeze that back cheek. Try to drift a little bit further forward, and again, press away to get back to tall, tall, tall. And then we'll heel toe that foot to the front, pull it underneath, and repeat on the other side. Leg comes up. First, it's that hip hike, and then to level. The tailbone tilt to the ceiling, spilling the punch out the front, and then tucking the tailbone under, squeezing your back cheek. With that back cheek squeezed, push down, pull on the floor, starting to get into that dorsiflex ankle or knee towards over the toe. Once you're there, relax, and then regather by squeezing your back butt cheek, drive down, pull a little bit further forward, and now keep extending that hip as you press forward to go back all the way to tall, and relax. From there, we'll heel toe that foot open to the side. Your safe side, keeping your hips square forward and your foot in line with the knee. From here, a quick hike, a pull down, and then a scoop under, squeezing your back butt cheek. Push down, pull on that floor, and we'll drift again, knee towards over that toe. Stay out there, relax, retuck and squeeze. Try to drift just a little bit further forward or sideways. And then press away to get all the way to tall, extending that back hip through, and relax. Heel toe that back to center. We'll pull that underneath.
Down dog.
And from here, we'll get into our down dog and our first hinge. So with our hands on the floor, underneath our shoulders, we'll tuck our toes. And right now, let's tip our tailbone towards the ceiling or that anterior tip. Keep that hip position as you hover your knees off the floor and then lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Prioritize that nice long spine in your low back as you extend your heels towards the floor. Straightening or working towards straightening those hamstrings. Take a breath, then let's rebend those knees. Tilt the tailbone long again and gently extend, lifting those hips up towards the ceiling. Is that spine still long? As you breathe, press those heels towards the floor. Now let's add a bend to the knees, push our hips back as we walk our hands to our feet into our hinge position and press to tall. Whew.
And add those shakes and wiggles. Before we add that kettlebell into our practice here, let's just get in touch with those shoulders and check out those ranges of motion. I like, again, a nice wide stance for my feet with my elbows stiff at the sides, palms facing forward. Low effort for now. Elevate or shrug the shoulder. Let gravity take over and relax. Now try to touch the floor from here with those fingertips. Reaching down, engage those armpits, hold for a second longer, and then relax the effort. Repeat. This time we'll elevate a little bit. Let's let up win, and from those armpit places, pull down, but let up win. You might move a little bit, but the goal is to feel, holy cow, on the rib cage, those triceps, and then to coast the effort away. Next, we'll drive down to the floor. Try to touch the ground with those fingertips. Keep reaching down, and then with the upper shoulders being those traps, try to shrug. Build that relationship between the upper traps that let you shrug and the low traps that help you stay strong in your press. and low effort to relax. Let's repeat that same thing with the arms out front. Arms at your side, raise them to the front, palms facing the middle or a neutral grip, or slightly turned up at the palms. From here, reach forward as I'm going to try to touch that computer screen, and then retract as to squeeze. Stiffen those elbows, they're going to want to bend, and for one more time, reach forward from underneath of that armpit, and then retract with those muscles between the shoulder blades. Pull your hands down, add a shake and reset, and now let's add a little bit more tension. The arms return to that front position, and at first, we'll round through the shoulder blades, protracting or reaching forward. Keep reaching forward, but between those shoulder blades, pull through the rhomboids, the blades together. For 3, 2, stay but chill. Next, we'll retract those shoulder blades, like pinching a pencil between those shoulders. Now hold on to that pencil, but from those same armpit places underneath, drive forward. One of the tougher ones, but continue to build that relationship between the power of the armpit and your desire to press. And then relax and shake. Maybe your arms are heavy enough. You might not need a load as we go through, and that's okay. This is a beginner kettlebell class. Practice with your body weight, groove with a bell, and build your strength routine. One of our favorite strength routines is the get up. So from standing, Lauren, or from laying down, could you share with us the favorite cues for the get up?
From standing, we'll start with an arm across our chest. We'll take the leg we can touch and drop it back into a lunge. Let's take 5 seconds to get to the floor. 5 seconds here, you're pressing that back hip forward and the front hip is coming in. 3, 2, soft land. Front foot takes that step open, just like that lateral lunge we did. Now add a rotation with your head and upper body to face that side leg. Use your hip hinge by pushing your hips back, placing your hand on the floor in line from that knee. Now let's stack our shoulders on top of each other, then lift that back leg, sweeping it through. From here, we'll find our elbow, and then we'll take 5 seconds to get to the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and soft down. Let's do the same side the way up. Use that foot to push into the floor, extending the hip and pulling on your elbow. From there, press, extending to that tall sit. We'll lift our hips to bridge and sweep that long leg underneath our hip. Pushing the floor away, extending the hips. Our front foot will move, and with both legs, we'll hook to tall. Let's drop that arm and switch it and do the same thing on the other side. Arm across our chest, leg you can touch, drop back lunge. 5-second descent again. Back hip pushing forward, front hip coming in. 2, 1, soft land. Front foot opens up. We'll add that head and shoulder rotation and chop our hips back, pushing them back so that our hand can find the floor. Before we sweep, restack those shoulders, sweep the leg through, find the elbow, and then again, 5 seconds away from that elbow to find the floor. 3, 2, and down. Reversing it back up, hip extension, pull on elbow. Find your hand through that tall sit, keeping that shoulder packed as we bridge and sweep. Pressing the floor of the way, hips extend, front foot moves, both legs, hook to tall.
Awesome. I love the get up. There'll be a couple more of those get ups in today's practice. First though, we've talked about that squat, and a squat again is where the hips go lower or approaching lower than those knees. And in a hinge, the hips will stay higher. Check. Nice hinge, Lauren. So with your feet standing just outside of those hips, we like to cue that we can chop those hip flexors, press the hips back, and for now, just place your hands on your knees to support a little bit. Are your toes heavy? Are you happy with your stance? Are the shins vertical? Is your spine long at the head neck, looking maybe 3 or so feet out in front of you? To stand up, press your feet into the floor, push those hips through with a firm butt squeeze. Repeat one more time. Chop on the hips, they go back. Vertical shins, heavy feet, feel that hip hinge crease setting in. Then press the feet away and extend to tall. Now, do you have a kettlebell at home? Let's grab it. We'll pick it up and work on that loaded deadlift, and then we'll progress into some swings. So with a kettlebell, handle perpendicular to the feet, or with two hands to achieve that overhand grip. Stand directly over top of that bell. Then chop on those hips. We hinge, and this time instead of the knees, grab onto the kettlebell. My kettlebell is 16 kilograms, and if I lifted up 15.9 kilograms of that, it wouldn't leave the floor, but my hamstrings and core would sure feel it. Do you feel preloaded?
Yes.
Let go, and then press the feet away, extending through. The goal is to take away the slack. Find the preload, and on this rep, let's pick it up and hold it in our top deadlift position. Set up the hip hinge. Grab with two hands and pack the shoulders. I feel the preload, so then we'll drive to tall. Return the kettlebell to the ground using that hip hinge. Regrip, repack, and preload. With a core brace, we'll extend. Return to the floor. Repeat one last time with the shoulders pack, core brace, and extend. Return to the floor. Come up with our bare hand and body weight and add our little shake. We can use kettlebells for those low body movements like deadlifts and swings and squats, but also fun strengthening exercises like presses. Lauren, could you groove us our body weight press, please?
Yes.
Awesome.
You can stay in your hip hinge feet width distance, and let's put our rack position on. So that means we have a vertical forearm and a nice straight wrist. From this rack position, we'll engage our lat by slightly retracting and pulling down on that shoulder. Let's keep that shoulder blade there as we slowly press our arm towards overhead. Once we get to your overhead, which is either in front like Ian or towards your ear like myself, we'll shrug our shoulder, which we won't do with a bell, but we'll do here. And then keeping the elbow straight, we'll engage the lat and we'll continue to pull that imaginary bell down. Noticing the forearm stays perpendicular to the floor as you pull it back into that rack position. Let's keep it here and do that one more time. Slowly press the bell towards overhead. As you're pressing, are your butt squeezed and your core embraced. Once overhead, one shrug, one pull down, and then pull that bell all the way down to that rack position and relax the tension. We'll perform the same thing on the other side. Rack position, vertical forearm, nice straight wrist. Shoulder retracted and packed. From here, keep that shoulder low as you press towards your safe overhead, no pinching pain. Once there, shrug the shoulder up, pull the shoulder down, and then start bending on that elbow to pull that bell all the way back to the rack position. Repeating one more time. Shoulder lat engaged, pressing towards overhead, no pinchy pain in that joint. One more shrug, keep the elbow straight as you pull down, and then continue to pull that imaginary bell all the way back to the rack position and relax. Whew, nice.
Thank you. We might press that overhead today or join us on a Tuesday evening for more kettlebell cleans and presses with the advanced kettlebell skills practice we have called Strength and Swing. Until then, let's just continue to refine the swing or progressing from that deadlift. Deadlift if that's for you, bodyweight grooves if that's for you too, or Lauren's just going to show us 5 repetitions of a hike pass component to that swing. 5 repetitions starts with a tip of the bell, a pull to the zipper, and a return to the park position. For 5, Lauren's staying the same height, core brace, and the goal is to take that kettlebell and pull it to load your core and hips.
Whew.
I go, you go is an often used rep scheme in our practice. That's the I, now it's the you, or the you. Let's do it together.
Set up behind your bell in your hip hinge position. Tip the bell, placing your hands with a nice grip. Engage your shoulders, dragging the bell a millimeter, and then pull and park. Repeat. Pull to zipper and park. For 3 more, load up those hips, keep the core brace, and pull, each time engaging those lats. Once done, park the bell with control and stand up.
And then let's do that twice. Breaking down that swing will highlight the phases of the swing for safety and strength. As Lauren's showing here, the kettlebell is on its edge, pulling to the zipper, core bracing, and there's a little bit of sound there, but nice and efficient, avoiding the crash.
One more time on the U go. So in that hinge position, pull and park. Pull to zipper. That same height, meaning that nice long extended spine. The weight is worn through our glutes and our hamstring and our core, not our low back.
There we go. Let's progress the get up. First, the lunge. You could take a hand across the chest, or if the overhead placement for you was great and fine, we can do that as well. Then with the free leg we can touch, let's drop back in our lunge. And as Lauren did earlier, 5 seconds down. 5, 4, feel the pull to the ground. Now don't go anywhere yet, but push your front leg forward, your back leg back, and that should create a little hover moment that we can step through to tall. Repeat one more time. Pull the armpit low, step back in our lunge, and pull yourself to the ground, scissoring those hips. Once you're on the ground, push forward through the front, back through the back, and then assemble the legs together and finish pulling in your nice overhead groove. Shake it out. Same thing on the other side. Racks position, arm overhead, cross the chest is appropriate too. The leg we can touch would drop back in that lunge and slowly scissoring, keeping that back hip extending forward and the front one pulling in to the ground. Then, don't go anywhere yet, but push the front leg forward, the back leg back, hover, and then step through, assembling together. One more time, we'll drop in the lunge, scissoring, pulling in through those hips with the back leg extended. That means butt squeeze, and then push away from center to tall, and pull back down to the rack. Working through the swings. Body weights, deadlift, pike pass, and now on to one unique repetition of what we call that stop swing. I go, you go. Let's watch Lauren first. She tips the bell, powers up, and parks and pauses. High power and pause. Utilize that pause in the middle to reset shoulders and evaluate how things feel. In a moment, we'll do continuous reps, but right now, focus on one beautiful rep at a time. Our turn
here. So setting up again in that hip hinge position, loading up hamstring, bracing the core. Pull the bell to the zipper, snap through, and park. Each time you do this, that purposeful stop of the bell. And again, driving the hips through, but at the top, making sure it's the core brace that stops you at the top versus the spine and leaning back. Last one or so here, park, and up without.
That's 5. We'll do that one more time. Either just watch and learn along the way, or replicate these repetitions for strength and endurance. The bell starts on that tip. Pause and pull. Power through with your core brace. Keep the shoulders packed. Your safe number. For today, we like 5 as a max. I think that's 5, and it's our turn for the last time here today.
So with your hands on the bell, tip that bell, pull with lats, snap the hips through, plank at the top, repeat. Each time as you're doing this, if you can have one more thought, try to match that strong exhale as your hips snap through. That'll create that core brace on the front you need and the butt squeeze on the back.
That's 5. Let's progress that get up again, just refining the movement that we'll call the windmill. The hand could be across the chest or with our armpits low, placed overhead. The leg we can touch, let's drop it back and nice and controlled, pull down. Then wiggle that leg out to the side and now take that hand that is overhead across your chest. At the head neck, look to the lateral facing leg. Then pull the rib cage towards square.
What? Oh, rotate
looking the direction of the leg out the side. Then hinge on the hip. Place a hand on the floor and then look to the floor with the head and let the rib cage follow. Next, we'll look up to the ceiling and then let the rib cage follow that opening action away from the floor. Final repetition, we'll look to the floor with the head. Let the upper body square up to the ground and then away from the ground for the last time. The rib cage to follow. Finish with the hand. Look to center, shoulders will follow. Then the leg. And what do we do on the ups? We push forward through the front and back through the back, and assemble together. Same effort on the other side. The arm overhead, the leg drops back in our lunge, always slow and control. From there, open up to the side, and then place a hand across your chest. At the head neck, add that rotation looking to the lateral facing leg, and then rotation through the rib cage to catch up. Hinge on the hip, place a hand on the floor, and then look to the floor with the head neck, following that with our rotation through the rib cage. Look up to the ceiling, head neck, and then rib cage to slowly follow. Last repetition as we look down to the floor. Those armpits, shoulders are packed. Embrace that beautiful rotation. And then the last one, look up to the ceiling, rotate through the ribs, press the floor away, look to center with the head, let the rib cage follow, then those legs, and we push away from center to stand up and shake. The last swing drill here for today is to put sets and repetitions together in repetitions of 5. So starting in that same hike pass position, but linking 5 repetitions together. Let's watch Lauren go first, and then we'll follow in. Hi-ya, the effort goes, hi-ya. Those repeated bouts of high tension with the breath, with the feet rooted for strength. 5, and then shake it out to rest.
Take time to set yourself up, placing your hands on the belly in your hinge position. Pull and snap through. Each time in that topmost position, you're pretending you're in that plank with your butts and your core braced.
Whoop. And the shake. Take some rest off if you need to, but hopefully we can put together 2 sets of 5 here. Start strong, finish stronger, and refine the swing technique forever. Here we go.
All right, another set of 5 here. Pulling and parking, or swinging. Keep that bell close to the zipper or the groin as you do your swing, as to not put any added load on that low back. I forget how many rounds you said.
That was 2 rounds.
No, but how many?
That was
just
2 rounds of 5. Do you want more swings? Then you could or should or might join us on Tuesday evenings, either live or archive, at the Strength and Swing class. Let's just build those grooves here, and then we can explore those in depth at our other practice. One more time in the get up, and this time, like Lauren did originally, let's get all the way down to the floor and back up on both left and right sides.
All right, standing up tall. We'll take a single arm across our body. With that leg we can touch, let's drop it back and control the down with that back hip pushing forward, soft landing. Front foot takes that step open, add the head shoulder rotate, hinging on the hips, hand finds the floor, and stack over top. Once stacked, sweep the back leg through, find the elbow, and press away from that elbow. 3, 2, 1. As we come up here, keep that long leg heavy as you use your hip extension and pull in your elbow. Finding your hand to your tall sit, we'll bridge, sweep, press the floor away, extending the hip through. That front foot moves, and here we go, pushing forward and backwards to tall. Unlock that arm and switch it on the other side. Touch back leg, controlled descent, hip pushing forward and land. Front foot opens, rotate head, shoulders follow, hinge. Make sure to stack before you take that back leg and sweep it through. From the elbow, and then press away from the elbow to your back on that soft landing. Again, use that hip drive, keep that long leg heavy on the floor, pulling to the elbow. Find your hand in that tall sit. Lift the hips, sweep the long leg underneath you. Press the floor away. Square up that lunge, and for the maybe last time, push it down and away to get to tall. And shake it out.
Shaking it out. Awesome. Let's finish our exercises today with kettlebell holds for tension, for strength, and to build that relationship with our kettlebell. We'll start with the suitcase hold, which is a lot like that deadlift we started with, but this time turn the handle parallel with the feet. We're still standing over top. We'll set up the hip hinge, and with one hand, in this case my right, I'll grab on to the kettlebell. Perhaps shadow the grip with the other hand just to secure and to stay square. Do you feel the preload? I do. And then to tall. Adjust your stance as you need. Bring the kettlebell to your side and avoid my posture or direction. So instead, activate both sides of that core. Grip the kettlebell for shoulder stability and brace. Push your feet out. Squeeze your butt cheeks. Core brace and breathe. And then we'll adjust our stance. Return to the floor and come up barehanded. Repeat on the other side. Hip hinge, check. Single hand on the bell, perhaps shadow with the other if we need, and then lift it, adjust your stance, and hold for time. In this practice, it's often 15 to 20 seconds. In our private practice, 1 minute. Build strength, build endurance, and that connection to your ribs and core. Adjust your stance, return to the ground, and barehanded up. 1 repetition of a push-up, utilizing that hinge as we get to the floor. Sidestep the bell, set up that hip hinge, hands to the ground, walk to a high plank and push-ups position, and whether it's from the knees like me or a high plank like Lauren, 1 repetition of a push-up. And up. If that's easy, do 1 more. Down and up. Then tailbone to ceiling, walk hands towards feet, use that hinge as we stand to extend the hips. Another rack position or another position for that kettlebell is again the rack where we might press from. So we'll stand over the bell. I like the bell handle parallel with my feet and I'll grip with my 1 hand. This time I will shadow again or pistol grip, feel the preload, zip up the body and pull it to that rack's position. You could adjust your stance or just find the stance that you think you want if you were to press that overhead. Pack the armpit, crush the bell in the grip to secure the shoulder, and then stance could adjust, return to the floor, and up barehanded. Same thing other side. It's the hip hinge, a solid grip, keep your shoulders square and feel the preload. Zip up the body, catch it in the rack, ribs to hips connections. Are we out to one side? Find center and press away through the feet. Hold for an additional 3 seconds. I like 2 hands on. Return to the floor and up barehanded.
Push-up time?
Last effort on those push-ups here today.
We'll walk ourselves out by hinging our hips back, tipping forward and finding either that tall push-up position or modify from your knees, no matter what it is. Keep your head, shoulders, and butt in line as you slowly lower and press up. Slowly lower, press up, maybe adding 1 more rep this time, and press. Pushing the hips back, keeping the tailbone long. Load up that hinge again, and extend to tall.
Nice.
Nice.
In this week's link letter to our members, if you're not a member, join with your membership at barsandbells.com. But anyways, in this week's link letter, we talked about numbers and how many sets and how many reps. And I finished asking, how many reps are you doing? Is 1 push-up a half rep too many? Is 3 reps, 3 repetitions too less? Let us know your numbers that you're training with so that we can continue to develop our skills of strength along with you. This concludes today's practice using your kettlebells and bodyweight for strength. Practice the grooves, learn the moves, and we will be back tomorrow for our bar class and the usual programs next week. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Ian.
I'm Lauren.
Together we stay strong and train with our bars and bells. We look forward to training with you soon. Have a good day.
Goodbye.